law used to restrict access to guns during a mental health crisis has been invoked more than a dozen times since the killings of 18 people last month, and several people whose guns were temporarily removed referenced the name of the gunman responsible for the mass shooting. An updated list from the state shows weapons restriction orders were imposed 13 times under the yellow flag law since the October 25th mass shootings in Lewiston, the deadliest in state history. That brings the total to 94 times since the law went into effect in July 2020. The updated figures were released yesterday during a law enforcement training that focused on the yellow flag law. Several hundred officers participated in the training.